Hi, welcome to Pages with Sidra here. I bring you the novels behind your favorite manga, manhwa, and manhua, whether by translating or simply reading them for you. Let's dive into the stories that inspire the comics we all love. I got a cheat ability in a different world, and become extraordinary even in the real world. Volume 10. Chapter 2, Athletic Festival. Part 1. A few days have passed since we decided on the events to participate in the athletic festival. We were getting ready for the festival. In addition to competitions and entrance/exit practice, the boys practiced for the cheer squad and the girls practiced their cheerleading. Even at my previous school, the boys did the cheer squad during the athletic festival, but this was the first time for me to participate properly. However, the steeplechase, cavalry battle, and tug-of-war which I will be participating in will only require a simple explanation of the rules and confirmation of the course, and the other details will only be known at the actual event. Instead, I was practicing the mixed-gender three-legged race with Rin. 1, 2, 1, 2. The two of us circled the schoolyard shoulder to shoulder. At first, we could only walk with some degree of control, but now we were able to run quite fast. Phew, isn't that nice? Yuya's great after all. I don't think so. Rin is the one who matches my breath, so it's very easy for me to move around. Rin grinned when I answered that. But it's bad, isn't it? You were with a girl like me. If it were Keed, she would have been more comfortable hugging you. Hug, you say. I know she's teasing me completely, but that's just too much for people to hear. Well, I know you don't feel like you're getting any perks with me, but bear with me, okay? It's not like that. But you're very beautiful too, I'm not used to this kind of thing so much, so I ended up saying some weird things, but in fact, when I ran shoulder to shoulder with Rin, she smelled kind of nice, and her body was so soft that it was impossible not to notice. That's why, it still bothers me a lot, or maybe I'm just trying not to care. Sorry, that's a weird thing to say. And no, it's me that, I'm sorry for saying weird things. As we were both feeling awkward, Rin changed the subject. By the way, the new student, Merle, is amazing, isn't she? Yes. Merle was assigned to participate in the athletic festival soon after transferring to the school, and just as in the case of Yudi, she demonstrated her abilities to the fullest extent. In my mind, Merle was a girl who made full use of her extraordinary space technologies, but she was also good at actual physical exercises. She is not as specialized in physical exercise as Yudi, Irasan, and the others, but even so, there is no doubt that she has extraordinary physical abilities when viewed on the Earth's level. It was reassuring that Merle was on our team, but I could not let my guard down since Yudi was in the white group. Well, but isn't it Yuya who is the center of attention the most? Besides, it looks like some TV stations will be there on the day, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. TV stations are coming? Huh, you didn't know? I was astonished by Rin's words. It was true that there had been reporters at the ball game related to Misan's entertainment agency, but that was not the case this time. Speaking of Aosei Academy's events, they are so flashy every year that many viewers look forward to them. Why, you're right. Is that it, or is it the feeling of watching the Olympics or a marathon? For that matter, it's not like athletes are competing against each other, but then again, Aosei Academy has a lot of students who excel in sports, so does that make it look good on TV? That's why I have to do my best so that I won't be a burden to Yuya. Rin laughed again, and we resumed our practice once again. Sorry, have you waited long? No, it's all right. On my day off, I was meeting Merle before the opening of the park in order to head to the amusement park that I had promised her before. Merle was dressed in plain clothes that properly fit in on Earth, just as when I showed her around the Earth some time ago. Merle noticed my gaze and lightly spun around on the spot. How do you like it? I tried on a slightly different kind of clothing than before. Yeah, it looks really good on you. I'm glad to hear that. So, here's the amusement park. A large facility was spread out before us. It was not only Merle's first time visiting the largest amusement park near where we live, but it was also my first time to visit one myself, so I was very excited. However, since it was a holiday, there were many people. Wow, that's a lot of people. Are they JKs, too? No, they're not. In the first place, amusement parks are not facilities where only JKs gather, you know. Is that so? No, come to think of it, it only says that JKs go there often. Let me correct the data. I'm curious as to what the data is. Regardless, when the amusement park opened, we too bought tickets and entered. Oh, I am impressed by the scenery that unfolds there. I had only seen the Ferris wheel from afar and the huge roller coaster, and there was a delicious or rather peculiar smell wafting through the air in the surrounding area. Moreover, the staff greeted us with smiles and there was an extraordinary space. Maybe there is nothing extraordinary for me when I am experiencing other worlds and space, but still, this place just for enjoyment was very new to me. It's amazing how different and unique the place is from the air outside. Merle also seemed amazed at the atmosphere of the amusement park. Let's not be dumbfounded by this, let's go on something. Now that you mention it, I'd like to ride on something called a roller coaster first. It is said to be one of the most popular rides in amusement parks. I see. Let's go then. I've never ridden a roller coaster before either, so I'm pretty curious. Moreover, I heard that there is not only one roller coaster in the amusement park but also several different types. When we headed for the biggest of them all, there was already a long line of people waiting to get on the roller coaster. Wow, that's a lot of people. As I thought, the data was correct. That must be why this roller coaster is such a great attraction. We got in line and waited our turn. Hey, that's a really flashy hair color. I mean, isn't it glowing? No, it's normal to be glowing, right? I like that couple over there. It's like a beautiful man and a beautiful woman. After all, Merle's appearance was very prominent and attracted the attention of other visitors. It seems we're attracting some strange gazes here. Could it be that your perception manipulation was not as good as it could have been? And no, I think it's fine. Yeah. Is that so? Then that's fine. Merle says that perception manipulation is not harmful to the body, but I don't think it's a good idea to be too careless with it, so I'm going to let it stay that way. While we were having this exchange and asking about things at school, it was our turn. Yuya-san, it's our turn. We sat side by side on the double-row roller coaster, and the safety bars were lowered to secure our bodies. All that remained was to wait for the start of the ride, and I felt a bit nervous and elated. It's finally happening. Merle seemed a bit nervous as well, but her expression was cheerful. And now the roller coaster begins to move. The roller coaster we rode had very steep ups and downs and even had a part where it spun around in circles. The coaster gradually accelerated, and when it reached its maximum speed, the coaster moved violently from side to side, up and down. Ha! While everyone around us was shouting and enjoying themselves, Merle and I were sitting there, bewildered. We even looked at each other unintentionally during the process. The reason is that we didn't feel any thrill at all. Normally, these types of attractions are meant to provide a variety of excitement that you would never experience in your everyday life. However, Merle and I couldn't feel any excitement, probably because we had already experienced rides and battles that were more thrilling than roller coasters. We passed through the main roller coaster course with some confusion, and the roller coaster ride was over without a hitch. With indescribable expressions on our faces, we looked at each other again as those around us happily shared their impressions. And next, let's go to the next attraction. Alright. In an effort to change the mood, I quickly made the suggestion to see the next attraction, and Merle showed her agreement. Then how about the haunted house? The data records indicate that this one is more of a couple's staple than a JK staple. So what's the data about? I don't know if it's a couple's staple or not, but I'm new to this as well, so I'm looking forward to it. Moving quickly to the location of the haunted house, we see a hospital-like building that looks like it might be haunted. Is that the haunted house? If I remember correctly, I think that shape and symbol was a hospital on this planet. You're not wrong in that assessment. What can I say? Hospitals are deeply related to life and death, aren't they? So I think that's why people have a strong image of it being haunted or something. I see. I spoke from my own imagination, but in front of a hospital with an atmosphere, albeit a fake one, I certainly felt that I could see ghosts and other spiritual things. Like the roller coaster, we waited in line, but it was not as crowded as the roller coaster, so our turn came relatively quickly. It's going to be fun. Yeah. The attraction itself is just following the route in the building, but what is it like? With a sense of excitement, I stepped into the building and found myself in the reception area of the battered and decaying hospital. The number of lights was minimal, and they were flickering on and off, perhaps to create an ambience. I see that by making it dark in this way, you can create a mood of fear. Merle muttered to herself, then immediately put on a subtle expression. I've known true darkness and cosmic terror like a black hole, so darkness alone isn't much. Well, from Merle's point of view, who travels a lot in space, this level of darkness is not scary. Well, this isn't the main thing, you know. After all, the most important thing is go. I was about to say that when I realized. No, I noticed. There it is. Yeah. I think it was probably the ghost actor, but I obviously detected the presence of people on both sides of the route, etc. with my presence detection skill. And no, this presence is not necessarily that of the ghost actor. Maybe the couple that entered before us is still no, it's strange to think that they're still staying across the route. We went on ahead to see what the presence was for the time being. Whoa. Da. Are you woo? Ha. Merle and I stared at the ghost actors who popped up with indescribable expressions on our faces. I mean, we wanted to be surprised, but we couldn't be surprised. I was not really surprised because I could even detect the presence of them popping out, if anything. Witnessing our expressions, the actor playing the role of the ghost almost went back to his normal self for a moment, but he quickly recovered and backed away, somewhat bewildered. Shall we proceed? Yes. After that, all we could do was give subtle looks to the crew members who tried to scare us the whole time. Some of them were even trying to scare us with mechanical gimmicks instead of humans. Ah, Yuya-san. If you go through there, you will probably hear loud noises. Wouldn't it defeat the purpose if you told me that? Ah. Merle, with her space technology, saw through it all. It is not that she is operating the device attached to her left arm, but she seems to be able to detect this much without using that device. We continued on, and we were almost to the exit. I didn't expect such harm. I could never have imagined that my skills and otherworldly experiences would interfere in this way. It was the moment when I thought that we would end up arriving at the exit without any problems. Yuya-san. Merle, what's wrong? Suddenly, Merle stopped. When I looked at Merle, I saw that Merle, who had been so unconcerned until then, had gone completely pale. Merle, what's wrong? Oh, that. Eh? Merle points a trembling finger at a corner of the haunted house. Following her fingertips, I turn my gaze in the same direction and see. Exclamation. You should praise me for not raising my voice. What a surprise, a child was standing in the direction Merle pointed. With his feet missing. The fact that I didn't notice it before shows that this child doesn't respond to the presence detection skill for some reason. In other words, go. I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. I don't believe in such an unscientific existence. Merle shook her head vigorously as if she had seen nothing. But the next moment. Let's play. Tilde exclamation. Caillou. Meow. Suddenly, Merle fainted at the sound of the child's voice coming from behind her. I hurriedly took Merle in my arms and dashed straight to the exit. Wah! It would be disturbing to shout so loudly, but fortunately, this is a haunted house. Even if I screamed a little, no one would think it was strange, and we succeeded in escaping. I never thought that a real ghost would appear. Did it come by because of the atmosphere of the haunted house? Whatever the case, I'm glad we were able to escape. Merle had passed out but woke up the moment we got out of the haunted house and we were exposed to the light outside. This is. It's outside. I made it out of the haunted house without incident. I see. Merle looked relieved from the bottom of her heart, and then she noticed something and blushed. Merle. It's all right now, so if you could put me down. Sorry. As I hurriedly put Merle down, an indescribable air passed between us. So I opened my mouth to change the atmosphere. All right, let's go to the next attraction. Why, yeah, you're right. However, I am not quite sure what to go to next. After all, the roller coaster wasn't going so well, and we were not sure if we would be able to enjoy the other attractions. We were worried about that, but we decided to just go for the time being and got in line for the other attractions. As a result, we could enjoy the merry-go-round and go-karts without any problem. The coffee cups were not as exciting as the roller coaster, but Merle, who rides on a spaceship, seemed to find the go-karts refreshing, and the merry-go-round was relaxing enough to enjoy the atmosphere. After enjoying some other mini-games, such as Struck Out and Free Throw, and getting a few prizes, we decided to have lunch. How's that? This is an amusement park. Are you enjoying yourself? When I asked her that again, Merle smiled. Yes, I am enjoying it. There were a few attractions that I didn't expect. I never thought I'd be this incompatible with a roller coaster, the centerpiece of amusement parks. No one could have predicted that, indeed. Well, Merle and I are just too unique. So, what do you think? I think I enjoyed it to some extent. If so, why don't we take a ride on that thing at the end? She then pointed to the Ferris wheel, another symbolic attraction of the amusement park. However, is that okay? You usually ride on a spaceship, and the height of a Ferris wheel doesn't. That may be so, but after all, I could see it from outside this amusement park. I'd like to take a ride. Certainly, I would like to ride on the Ferris wheel, which was visible from a distance on our way to this amusement park. As soon as we decided on our next move, we quickly made our way to the Ferris wheel, and this time we were able to ride it easily. We gradually ascended the Ferris wheel, feeling strangely embarrassed at the thought of being alone in such a small space. The scenery around us became more and more distant, and we came to a position where we could look down at the roller coaster we had ridden in the first place. Having ridden spaceships before, I had initially wondered how the Ferris wheel would be, but it was interesting to watch it slowly rise higher and higher, and I was genuinely enjoying myself. When I was on Merle's spaceship, the Earth itself became distant in an instant, but it is nice to look at the scenery slowly like this. Yes, you're right. While I was relaxing and enjoying the scenery outside, Merle opened her mouth, looking somewhat nervous. Once again, I'm really sorry about what my father said to you on the planet Emil. No. I don't mind. At first, I didn't know what to do, but now we are back, and that's how it happened. In fact, it was only because Merle covered for us that we were able to come back like this. Then Merle continues, still looking nervous. It's strange, but what do you think of Planet Emil, Yuya-san? Well, I was too busy to see it properly before, but it's still very different from Earth, and the technology is way ahead of us. I hope I can go sightseeing next time under calmer circumstances. In that case, I would like to take Knight and Iresan and the others with me. As I was thinking like that, Merle continued. How about living on the planet Emil? As expected, that's. I did think it sounded like an interesting planet, but when asked if I would live there, I indeed couldn't immediately nod my head. Alright. Merle looked a little dejected at my response. NYX translations. T then, Amaya Lovereno, it's too early for that. Will you become my friend? A. T that's of course. A pleasure for me too. Why did she suddenly ask me that? As for me, I already thought we were friends. As I was thinking this, the Ferris wheel finally reached the top. Wow, it's such a nice view. The view of the city, which had always been so casual, seemed special, glistening in the sunlight. I suddenly shifted my gaze to Merle, who was also stunned by the view in front of her. It was thanks to Merle's invitation that I was able to see such a view. Merle. Yes. Thank you for inviting me out today. I had a lot of fun. Yes. We laughed again and enjoyed the Ferris wheel to the end. And now, moving on to part 2 of this chapter. The story is just getting more exciting, so let's keep going. While Yuya and Merle were enjoying the amusement park, Orgais was working in his office at the castle. Suddenly, one of the soldiers arrived in a hurry. Your Majesty. What's the matter? We have succeeded in capturing one of the believers of the evil cult. What? It was a report that they had captured a member of the evil cult who was currently marching through the Great Devil's Nest in search of Yuya. I understand, I will be there soon. Orgais put down the papers in his hand and immediately headed for the believer, guided by the soldier. The believer was in the interrogation room, and upon his arrival, Orgais was immediately escorted into the room. There sat a man with his hands and feet bound, and the soldiers watched him to ensure he did not do anything strange. Orgais sat down in front of the man and asked him directly, Are you a believer of the evil cult? The man's tone was one of uncertainty, but he answered matter-of-factly, without pressure. If so, what would you say? What? What did we do? That's. Orgais could not answer the man's question. The reason was that, although the evil cult was a dangerous group that worshipped evil, they did not harm the people in their surroundings in any particular way. The idea of worshipping evil, the enemy of mankind, was dangerous in itself, but it was not enough to catch them and punish them. This country has become quite barbaric, hasn't it? You. Fine. The man's words immediately prompted one of the soldiers to slash at him, but Orgais restrained him. You are right. The members of the evil cult did not directly cause damage to our country, but it is also true that this country has suffered tremendous damage due to the evil you worship. That is why we cannot leave your ideology unchecked. You also stand in our way. The man muttered quietly in response to Orgais' words, his expression disappearing. But he quickly smiled. But it's too late, you know? Our plan is already in motion. Plan? Yes. We will summon our god by offering him our divine enemy who has arrogantly defied us. Wah? Orgais and the others widened their eyes at what the man had just said. If the man's words were true, then evil that is the incarnation of despair would be resurrected. Hey, you, what kind of... Just as Orgais was about to ask more questions, he noticed that the man's eyes were wide open. He was smiling, but he was out of breath. The blood flowing from his mouth indicated that he had bitten off his tongue. Damn it! Hey, kill this guy right away. He immediately instructed the soldiers around him to cast a recovery spell on the man, but it was already too late, and the man could not be brought back to life. Why, Your Majesty, I apologize. No, it's fine. This time it is entirely my fault. I misjudged the fanaticism of these evil believers. Orgais would have liked to gather more information if he could, but the man's death made that impossible. Nevertheless, there was certainly information to be obtained. We will summon our god. Don't tell me they really think they can bring evil back. Orgais, who thought they had finally found peace after Yuya had defeated the evil, now had a grim look on his face as he realized that the threat of the evil was approaching once again. The mere resurrection of the evil was significant, but the man had something more problematic to say. Offering a divine enemy, does that mean that there is a ritual that summons the evil by sacrificing the holy? As might be expected of the king of a magic powerhouse, he immediately recognized the possibility of the existence of such magic, but he did not infer that the subject of the sacrifice might be Yuya. The king's council has just concluded, but I will send letters to all countries immediately so that they will be a little more vigilant. I hope my fears are unfounded. Orgaz sighed heavily and quickly returned to his office. After enjoying the holiday with Merle at the amusement park, the school practiced for the athletic festival alongside regular classes, and finally, the morning of the big day arrived. Unfortunately, I could not bring Knight and the others, and Amasan was sulking as usual, but I asked him to endure it. I really wanted them to come as my family, but I wouldn't be able to stay with them all the time, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to them. Well, since Knight and the others are smart, I don't have to worry about them, though. So, when I finished my preparations and headed to the school, I found that many TV cameramen were getting ready to shoot, just as Rin had said. Well, here we are again this year, the Aosei Academy Athletic Festival. I am Shureis, a member of the broadcasting committee, and I will be your host for this year's event. After the preparations were finished, everyone gathered on the field, and then, to the surprise of everyone, the broadcast by Shureis-an, a member of the broadcasting committee, began as if it were a live broadcast. I have never imagined such a loud broadcast at an athletic festival. And this time, we've invited our PE teacher, Oki-sensei, to act as a commentator. Pleased to be working with you, Oki-sensei. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's performance. Along with commentary. Well, it's not like they invited someone from outside or anything, I guess it's normal. Now, I'm sure you all know this, but let me briefly explain the rules. Students are divided into red and white groups in this athletic festival and compete in different competitions, and points are awarded according to their rankings. The winners are decided by the total of the points. However, that doesn't mean that people in the same group are your friends. What's more, the points earned by each class determine the budget for the school festival to be held at a later date. Besides, there will be extra prizes for different rankings, so everyone, let's go out there and die trying to win. What an amazing enthusiasm. At Shureis-san's words, all the participants, men and women alike, were filled with a fighting spirit and shouted heroically. If it's this passionate, the parents must be bewildered. With that in mind, I turned my gaze to the audience and saw. White team, don't lose. I'm betting all my food on you guys. Ara, you're such an amateur to bet on the white team, aren't you? Maybe you're not gathering enough information. This year will be the red group, and that fact will not be reversed. I wish I could have participated when I was younger. The second prize every year is just too good to pass up. Sure thing. Last year, the extra prizes were amazing too. I wish I could have spent my school life like that. Everyone seems to be accepting it as normal. Am I the only one surprised here? Despite my surprise, after the opening ceremony was over, Shureis-san made another announcement. The venue seems to be getting more and more excited. Let's move on to the first competition. All contestants, please assemble at the entrance. Thus, at last, the curtain rose on the Aosei Academy's athletic festival. Now, the bread-eating contest. The bread you will be eating this time is from Yakute-do. If you'd like to try some freshly baked, delicious bread, please come to Yakute-do. Are you going to advertise here? And maybe we are supposed to advertise in exchange for support from companies in this way. By the way, there will be a slice of very spicy bread among the breads prepared for you. This will test not only your foot speed, but also your luck. You're adding a gambling element here. Several boys from my class are going to participate in this race, led by Akira. Well, then, let's move on to the introduction of the athletes first of all, Akira. It's his first appearance after a long time. Just leave it to me. Let this bread-eating nobleman set an example for you. Akira's spirit of nobility is truly unfathomable. But is he going to be okay? I have a strange and bad feeling about this. As I had a mysterious bad feeling, the bread-eating contest finally started. Akira was originally good at physical exercise itself and got to the bread place faster than anyone else. Phew ha 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 ha. Behold this magnificent way of eating bread. Akira bites down vigorously on the dangling bread. And then, SSPC. Akira's face turned bright red, and fire erupted from his mouth. Oops, Akira. It looks like he got himself into some super spicy bread. Water. Give me some water. Akira went straight off the course and rushed off to get a drink of water. In the meantime, the other students would swallow their bread and reach the finish line without any problems. When Akira returned to the class waiting tent, his lips were bright red and swollen. Foo as expected, I couldn't beat that spiciness. Are you okay? My lips still hurt. Right, it's swollen up as far as I can see. As I was treating Akira, the next competition was about to start. Well, next up is the scavenger hunt. After the players start in unison, they are asked to draw a piece of paper from which the contents are hidden. Then, reach the goal with what is written on it in your hand. Kid, don't lose. Fight. Rin-chan, Yukan-chan, thank you. I'll do my best. It looks like Kid will be competing in the scavenger hunt, and I'll be cheering her on. Kid, good luck. Yuyure, why yeah, I'll do my best. Kid was determined and headed to the starting point. And now, moving on to part 3 of this chapter. The story is just getting more exciting, so let's keep going. Kid's POV. Wow, Yuya-kun cheered me up. As Kid moved to the starting point, she thought back to Yuya's words earlier and blushed. Although she felt that they had become a little closer again after spending the summer vacation playing together, Kid wanted to get even closer to him. I wish I were a little taller. That is why Kid was honestly envious when it was decided that Rin would participate in the 3-legged race with Yuya. She was confident in her running speed, but there was nothing she could do about that. No. Since Yuya-kun cheered me on, I have to do my best in the scavenger hunt. As she braced herself once again, Shurei's announcement rang out. The next scavenger hunt will be decided by 2 things, how easy a subject you can draw and how quickly you can find the item you need to borrow. Are you all ready? Now then. Following Shurei's announcement, the event finally gets underway. Then, all the students started running at once, but Kid, who was confident in her speed, was the first to reach the platform where the subjects were lined up. Let's see, if I draw one from here, it's... Kid takes a sheet of paper without hesitation and opens it on the spot. N-A. Kid froze at the subject written there. The other students also picked up the subject one after another and started to check it on the spot. How? What is the legendary sword? The vice principal's wig, you say. Is there such a thing as the greatest treasure of human connections? Damn it. A girlfriend, you say you were taking advantage of me being singly. It is truly an agonizing scream. None of the subjects were straightforward, and they all had everyone scratching their heads. Oops. All players have not moved from their assigned locations. Oki-sensei, what do you expect to happen from here? Yes, well, the organizers have tried to make some of them achievable while mixing in some crazy ones, but unfortunately, it seems that all of them didn't get the right one. Shurei's and Oki-sensei continued to explain calmly, but Kid was unable to do anything about it. This subject is B, but I can't win if I don't bring someone with me. Kid was confused. Then, Yuya, who was in the waiting tent, raised his voice. Kid, are you okay? Yuya-kun. At the sight of Yuya, Kid decided to prepare herself and rushed to Yuya's side. Yuya-kun, please come with me. G got it. NYX translations. Yuya, who understood in an instant that Kid's borrowed object that fit the theme was him, jumped out of the tent, grabbed Kid's hand, and started to run. Although she should be happy to be in a situation where she was holding Yuya's hand, Kid is not in the mood for that right now. But as luck would have it, Keed and Yuya were able to finish in the first place because the others had not yet obtained the desired borrowed items. The first one to cross the finish line was Keed from the red group, and with her, hand in hand, is our school's hottest new student, Yuya. What on earth was the subject? Right, well, let's just say we'll leave that up to your imagination. Keed, who had received a somewhat warm gaze from Oki-sensei, turned her head down, her face reddening. Phew, I'm glad we made it to the finish line without incident. It seems that I was the right person for the borrowing subject, but what kind of subject was it? A transfer student, perhaps? Oh, why yeah, right. That's the kind of subject it was. Keed hurriedly answers Yuya's question. I can't possibly say that. I can't believe the subject was who's on my mind right now. Keed and Yuya were good subjects in the eyes of the TV station, and they were unaware that the camera was immediately filming them. Now, the scavenger hunt, in which only a few of the competitors made it to the finish line, was over. The next event was the ball throw. I was the one who reached the finish line with Keed as a borrowed object that fit her subject, but it seemed that most of the others didn't even make it to the finish line. That's right, I don't know where to borrow a legendary sword or something like that either. More importantly, the next competition was the ball throw. Many students, including Shingo-kun, participated in the ball throw, but Yudi was from the white group. But at the same time, Kaori is also participating as a member of the white team. What in the world is going to happen? Well, are both groups ready? Then start. HMPH. At Shurei-san's signal, Yudi was the first to move and kicked up the countless balls rolling on the ground in one go. Then, in an instant, she retrieved the balls floating in the air and tossed them one after another into the basket. Meteor SHOWER Japanese symbol a THLETIC festival version. Whoa. After Yuya just now, Yudi is the next most talked competitor from the middle school division. With her incredible physical ability and throwing technique, she manages to put one ball after another into the basket. Otenju is tremendous in PE, but she's amazing too. I'm looking forward to seeing her come to the high school. T/N, PE equals physical education. As expected, the game was Yudi's sole domain, with Yudi accurately placing balls into the basket from one end to the other. Incidentally, the number of balls prepared for this ball game was much larger than that of a regular school, and on top of that, the baskets were large and multiple. Therefore, a very intense game of ball throwing was being played. Pyuhao. Tatanaka. Biwa. Saseidu o gaha. Oh, participant Kaori. All the balls are flying in the wrong direction and it's dangerous. Kaori, a member of the same white group as Yudi, had sent every ball she threw flying in an unbelievable direction. Moreover, whether on purpose or by accident, the balls struck the students of the red group, and one after another, the red group's camp fell. What is this? Kaori's violent throw caused the number of participants in the red group to decrease. Wild pitch. T/N. In baseball, a wild pitch WP is charged against a pitcher when his pitch is too high, too short, or too wide of home plate for the catcher to control with ordinary effort, thereby allowing the baser runner or the batter on an uncaught third strike to advance. Kaori is shocked by Shurei's announcement, but this might be called a violent throw. The red group, who managed to survive in front of their fallen comrades, had to avoid the still continuing throws from Kaori as the ball was being thrown in the air. Yui, it's impossible to throw while avoiding this. Don't worry. I, the ball-throwing nobleman, am going to boo. Akura. I'm sorry. But if I don't throw, the game is. NYX translations. Kaori apologizes for her poor control but continues to throw it seriously because it was a game. As a result, the game had turned into yet another competition in which they had to keep avoiding balls of a speed that even I, who was improving my level, would lose sight of. After the wildly exciting ball game was over, the results were announced. Let's see just now. Thanks to the efforts of Yudi and Kaori, the red group has a total of 50 balls and the white group has 300 balls, so the white group is the winner. Victory. Ahaha. Yudi mouthed the words in her usual tone, then turned her gaze to me and sent me a V sign. And now, moving on to part 4 of this chapter. The story is just getting more exciting, so let's keep going. Then, let's move on to the next competition. Next up, the obstacle race. Oh, it's my turn. Yuya-kun, good luck. If it's Yuya, he'll be fine. Well, I'm sure Yuya will do just fine. While receiving words of support from Keed and the others, I made my way to the starting point, but when I arrived there, I felt my jaws gradually drop at the sight of the obstacles being set up on the ground. Is this the track? What a surprise, a full-scale obstacle course had been prepared on the ground that would challenge any physical fitness enthusiast. Now, the annual popular Aosei Academy specialty, the full-scale obstacle race. Try to overcome the obstacles on each course and reach the goal. Wait. Don't tell me that obstacle course is the specialty. No, but it makes sense when you see obstacles of this magnitude. I myself had no idea that Aosei Academy's athletic festival was so popular that it was broadcast on TV until I heard about it from Rin and the others. That's why I expected it to be an obstacle race a little bigger than a regular school, but once again, looking around at the participating students, there were only strong-looking boys there. Finally, this day has come. My body has been tuned up for this day. Let's see how far it goes. The atmosphere in the competition is such that reaching the finish line itself seems difficult. Will it be all right? Now, what great games will be contested this year? So let's get into position, everyone. Go. Then, with a lively signal, we all started running at once. Then, the first obstacle stood in our way. A steep wall, about 5 meters high, is the first obstacle that stands in the contestants' way. You will not be able to overcome this obstacle unless you have a solid run-up and the strength to run up the wall. Shurazan was right, an almost vertical wall appeared in front of us. This much is few. I jumped up toward the wall with a little momentum, put my hand on the top of the wall, and climbed over. Oh, participant Yuya. He conquered this obstacle in an instant. As expected. This should be easy for him normally. But will he be able to keep his composure after this? The students followed me, overcoming obstacles one after another, even though they were not as smooth as I was. A second obstacle stood in our way. The next obstacle was a balance beam placed on a high platform with a simple pool of water underneath. Moreover, the platform was not designed to be crossed normally. The second area awaiting the contestants required them to push forward while avoiding the pendulums that strike one after the other. Yes, large cushioned pendulums attacked us as we moved forward on the balance beam, blocking our path. And it's... this much One of the students quickly got on the balance beam, only to find that the balance beam began to spin. The male student rushed to regain his balance and clung to the beam desperately. However, oh, I forgot. If you are distracted by this balance beam and how it spins, you will fall prey to the pendulum. It is truly an obstacle that requires a good sense of balance, a wide field of vision, and composure. Yes, the boy fell into the pool after hitting the pendulum while he was distracted by the spinning balance beam. Seeing this, the rest of us hesitated to go on. But if I don't go on, I won't be able to reach the finish line. I made up my mind and hung my feet on the balance beam. Oops, participant Yuya, are you going to strike boldly? As I put my foot on it, I found out that with a slight shift in balance, this balance beam spins. However, I, who had been trained by Master Uzagi and Ira-san for a long time in the name of combat training in places with poor footholds, managed to maintain my balance on the spinning balance beam and avoid strikes by the pendulum and succeeded in clearing it. What? Participant Yuya once again cleared the second obstacle first as well. Wonderful. I've never seen a student clear it so cleanly before. Even Oki-sensei is very impressed. As for the other students, as expected, they can't go as smoothly as participant Yuya. but they steadily clear the way, using other students as shields for the pendulum and so on. But things will get even tougher from here. The difficulty level is still going up. Surprised by Oki-sensei's announcement, I proceeded onward, only to find that a 5-meter-long cloud ladder had been prepared this time. Moreover, the bars to hang from were thick and widely spaced, requiring a strong grip. Fortunately, having experienced many things in the other world, I was able to clear the obstacle in one go. In the next obstacle area, a huge iron ball was placed, and I had to carry it to the goal of this area. The ball felt as heavy as an adult male when I lifted it, but I was able to conquer it without any problem, probably because I had handled a weapon called World Strike in the other world. Participant Yuya is amazing, amazing. He overcame the obstacles one after another with great dexterity. I didn't expect him to go this far. I think this is going to set a new tournament record. What a surprise.
Hi.
Apparently, we may be witnessing that historic moment. But will he make it through the last event? There were a series of other obstacles that would normally cause one to collapse from exhaustion just getting to this point, such as going under taut barbed wire and going through a storm of spikes by the volleyball team for some reason. And then, after passing through an area where I had to climb a vertical wall using only the strength of my arms and ropes, the final obstacle stood in front of me. It was now participant Yuya, who is currently leading the race. He finally reached the last obstacle, which is... Yes, it's a tightrope walker. To my surprise, there was only one thin rope in the last obstacle area. Moreover, the distance to the goal appeared to be more than 10 meters. Having given everything he had up to this point, he must have already been tired, and now this tightrope walker. There was a balance beam at the beginning, but this was nothing like that. Every muscle in your body is screaming, and it must be difficult just to keep your balance. Of course, you can go ahead and hang on. But then there is the concern of interference by the following contestants. Oki-sensei is right. If the contestants behind me catch up with me as I am crossing the rope super carefully, the rope could be shaken, and I could be dropped. Fortunately or unfortunately, this summer vacation has been full of battles in the other worlds and outer space, and I have enough strength left to balance this much without any problem, but... Yuya-kun, keep up the good work. Yuya, you can do it. Everyone. Cheers flew one after another from the red group's tent. With that cheering, I decided to give one a try. Oh, at last, the followers have arrived. Will this be a disadvantage for participant Yuya? No, wait. That Tenju, is he going to walk on the tightrope normally in this situation? Perhaps Oki-sensei and the organizers were thinking that this tightrope walker was supposed to proceed ahead while hanging on, rather than just walking across normally. That is why they were surprised that I took a step onto the rope without any hesitation. But I wasn't going to be a regular tightrope walker. HMPH. WHWAT. The rope was so tight that it was made to twist and turn as I took a step forward. Then, using the elastic force of the rope, I jumped all the way to the opposite side. He jumped. Participant Yuya, using the recoil from the taut rope, forced himself to jump over the rope. That's absurd. Even if you are using a rope, can you jump a distance of more than 10 meters? Despite the reaction of the surprised Shuri-san and the others, I landed safely on the other side and ran through in a single bound, reaching the goal. Jigual. Participant Yuya has reached the finish line at an overwhelming speed, and that clearance time is a new meet record. Or rather, will there ever be a contestant who can surpass it? And no, I don't think it will be possible. I think it will be tough even for a professional contestant of this kind. I don't understand what you mean by surpassing professional athletes. I'm glad I won for the time being, despite all that's being said. As I returned to the tent, I was greeted by Ryo and the others. Yuya, that was awesome. Yeah, you clear every obstacle in an instant. It was great to watch you. Is that so? Thank you. But Yuya-kun, are you okay? Next up is the tug of war. Shingo-kun said this with concern, but I had no problem with it. Yeah, I'm fine with this much. Tea this much, you say you're too much of a monster, aren't you? Look at all the other contestants. Rin was right. The other contestants were exhausted, and they all limped back to their tents with heavy feet and collapsed in a heap. Well, I wouldn't have cleared it very well either if I hadn't been leveled up in the other world. But these days, in addition to training with Master Yuzaki and Irisan, I had to fight in outer space, and I was in a situation where my physical strength was increasing whether I wanted it to or not. Since I couldn't give a detailed explanation, I tried to cover it up with a vague smile and headed to the next competition, Tug of War. And now, moving on to part 5 of this chapter. The story is just getting more exciting, so let's keep going. The tug of war was played separately for men and women. As a result, the red team won the men's team, but the white team was now ahead of the women's team. The reason was that the white team had Yudi. We can't let this happen. Merle, who was participating in the tug of war, seemed to try to use some technology from the planet Emil, perhaps to counter the white team's Yudi, but preventing it. I'll beat you before you do. At that moment, Yudi's eyes glowed. Wah. You Before Merle could do anything, Yudi pulled the rope as hard as she could, and all the girls in the red group were pulled like fish from water. Naturally, it would have been dangerous if they had fallen, but Yudi jumped out instantly, caught them all in the air one by one, and carefully brought them down. Secured. Are you okay? Why, yes. Some of them had reddened faces and sparkling eyes for Yudi. It's frustrating because I really wanted to win, but Yudi-san did it better than me. Well, Yudi is strong, but even Merle did a great job for her first athletic festival. Yes, Merle had attracted a lot of attention from people around her because she was a transfer student, and she contributed to the victory to live up to their expectations. In fact, even during the ball throw, most of the red group's points were scored by Merle. I really didn't calculate it during the ball throw. I didn't expect such a powerful attack from the white group. Ahaha. I could only smile wryly at Merle's words. She called it a powerful attack, but that was just a ball Kaori threw out of control, flying all over the place, but Merle was right. The power of that flying ball is extraordinary. Kaori was usually not good at exercise, but in this respect alone, she may be one of the best in the world. I couldn't even react to it. More importantly, isn't Yuya the one who did a great job? The obstacle race was amazing, wasn't it? Besides, the men's tug of war could be won only with Yuya's help. I am indeed much more powerful than most people now, but that didn't mean I thought I could have won on my own. Next up were the cheer squad and the cheerleaders, right? Aside from my side, will Merle be participating in cheerleaders as well? Yes. I did my best to learn it. I hope you can look forward to that, okay? Merle's cheeks flushed a little red, and after saying so, she walked away quickly. As per my conversation with Merle, once the tug of war is over, there will be a lunch break, followed by the cheer squad and the cheerleaders. In previous athletic festivals, I would have eaten alone, but this time Kaori invited me to eat lunch with her. Since I had made Yudi's lunch as well, Kaori and I were allowed to visit her and her friends together, and we had a pleasant lunch together. Then, the red group. Good luck to you, yeah. Dressed in our school uniforms, which we don't usually wear, and wrapped in red bowls, we showed off what we had practiced as a cheer squad. We were not only supposed to cheer as a normal cheering squad but also to perform a casual dance. To be honest, this dance was probably the most difficult part of the athletic festival. As we managed to perform the dance, we had memorized and received applause from the parents. The girls now began their cheerleaders' performance. Then, the boys, who had returned to the waiting tent, cheered in unison. Ooh, that's good. I'm so glad I got into this school. Those raw legs are dazzling, man. The girls, dressed in cheerleader costumes, performed a full-fledged cheer dance as they were, cheering on their respective pairs. The unfamiliar sight of everyone and their short skirts made me a bit nervous, and my gaze wandered all over the place. The cheerleaders, including Kaori and Keed, who I am used to seeing on a regular basis, also took part in the performance, and I was thrilled to see a side of them that was different from the norm. The TV cameras were frantically following the girls as they performed. The costumes may have caught the viewers' attention, but the cheerleaders themselves were also very accomplished and looked very good on TV. After the cheerleaders finished their performance, an announcement was made by Shure-san. Well, that was a very impressive cheer and cheerleader performance. Now I would like to start the afternoon session here. As for the current score, it appears that the white group has a slight lead. The red groups are winning more spectacularly in each event, but the white groups are steadily gaining points. It seems that the red group is currently losing, and our class teacher, Sawada-sensei, issues a proclamation. Hey, you guys. Do your best for your teacher's bonus. No, you should have more words to say to us. Ryo was quick to tsukomi her, but Sawada-sensei. That's how the afternoon session begins. Everyone tried their best to help the red group win but could not take back the lead from the white group by just one more step. Well, let's move on to the next event. Next up is the mixed-gender three-legged race. Oh, it's our turn. Yeah, let's go for it. Rin-chan, Yuya-kun, good luck. Fight. We were cheered on by Keed and the others as we made our way to the starting point. The white group seems to have a lot of track and field students. Is that so? There are some track and field students in the red group, but there are more in the white group. How tough can this be? Either way, we've been practicing, and we're going to give it our all. With all the players once again bracing themselves, they all got together and started off at the teacher's signal. Huff, 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 huff. Rin and I continued to run smoothly, breathing in unison to show the results of our practice. However, as Rin had said before we started, there were many track and field pairs in the white group, and their three-legged speed was quite fast. If we don't do something about it, we're... Rin. Impatient with the speed of the people around, Yuya sensed that Rin was about to pick up the pace and quickly matched it. But perhaps because she had never run at speed like that in practice, her legs got tangled, and she almost fell over. But I managed to prevent Rin from falling by supporting her with my hands around her waist, but she rolled her eyes and looked disappointed. I'm sorry. I was impatient. No, it's fine. More importantly, is your leg okay? Oh, I'm fine, ugh. I was able to prevent her from falling down, but it seemed that Rin had sprained her leg, and her face was contorted. Rin? I was in such a hurry that I tried to speed up and ended up getting hurt. Deciding that it was impossible to continue running, I told the teachers right then and there that we were going to forfeit from the race. Yuya, I'm so sorry. Then Rin said this in a depressed tone, but it was important to carry Rin to the nursing tent for the time being. We have no choice in the matter. I'll carry you to the tent. No, I'm fine walking, Kyle. While holding Rin, who was trying to walk alone, I quickly took her in my arms and carried her to the nursing tent. NYX translations. Meanwhile, Rin's face was flushed, and she was trying to say something, but in the end, no words came out. Well, it might be embarrassing to be carried in a princess carry in front of everyone, but I hope she could bear with it. After I finished carrying Rin and returned to the red group's waiting tent, Keed and the others approached me with concern, but I told them that everything would be all right for the time being. After all, once again, the gap in points with the white group was not decreasing. Thank you for watching Pages with Sidra. I hope you enjoyed this chapter of I got a cheat ability in a different world, and became extraordinary even in the real world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more volumes and novels. Let's keep exploring these amazing stories together. See you in the next one.